Hello, my name is Nicholas Smith. This is my audience. Surviving against all odds. The Kumeyaay people are an inspirational people due to their respect for land and their resilience. The Kumeyaay people were nomadic people who lived alongside the land. They lived part-time on the coast, in the mountains, and in the desert, depending on the season. They passed down from generation to generation traditions and stories orally. They believed that the land was sacred and acted as caretakers of the land, managing the environment through controlled fires. The Kumeyaay people lived on. The first contact the Kumeyaay had with the Spanish was in the 1500s. The city of San Diego was established in the 1700s. Missionaries began to set up missions, and numerous of them encroached on the Kumeyaay villages. The Kumeyaay retaliated against the Spanish and raided the city, and they fought really hard against the Spanish. A lieutenant for the Spanish monarchy exclaimed how ruthless and resilient the Kumeyaay people were. The Spanish had to leave the Kumeyaay territory as the Kumeyaay were very fearless and fight on and fight on. The Kumeyaay people still lived on. After Mexico won its independence, it took the city of San Diego. The Kumeyaay rebelled against the Mexican government by raiding the city of San Diego again. An Englishman arrived in the city of San Diego. He explained how horrible conditions they were due to the fearless Indians, the Kumeyaay people. The Kumeyaay people still lived on. The United States declared war against Mexico, starting the Mexican-American War. The Americans expressed their disappointment in the Mexican government for the treatment of the Kumeyaay people and other indigenous groups. The Kumeyaay helped the starving Americans and fought alongside them, helping the Americans win the Mexican-American War. After the establishment of the state of California, the Americans did a full 180 in the treatment of the indigenous peoples. The Kumeyaay were kidnapped, enslaved, and murdered. They revolted, forcing the Americans to sign the Treaty of San Isabel, and the Kumeyaay still lived on. Residential schools were opened in the Kumeyaay territory. The Kumeyaay people were forced to go to these schools to be whitewashed and to strip them down from their language and their culture. The children were abused, raped, and murdered. The Kumeyaay people still lived on. The Kumeyaay people were forced to go to reservations to lessen conflict between the Americans and the Kumeyaay and to Americanize them. Due to having to be forced onto reservations, the Kumeyaay were pushed into poverty, having to rely on government commodities. In these commodities, the Americans put sterilization agents so the women would be sterilized. The Kumeyaay people lived on. The Kumeyaay people established tribal governments, allowing them to create businesses such as casinos to help pull their people out of poverty, and they lived on. Although there was many battles that the Kumeyaay had to fight, although it seemed like they would never survive, the Kumeyaay will continue to live on. Thank you.